Hello everyone, my name is Sam Diaz and welcome to this video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to use Runway's Act One on Unreal Engine characters. Let's go. So the first thing I'm going to show you is basically how I created the character really quick, how I used the main animation. So in this case, it's going to be the walking animation, then how I imported that into Unreal Engine, and then how I export that video out into an MP4 and then import that into Act One and then do the facial animation. And then of course, then I bring it into Premiere and use that as the final output. So let's get started. The first thing I do, like I said, is I go into Meshy to create my character. So just a bit of context. This is for a show that I'm doing for my kids called Nancy and Dolly. It's a Spanish cartoon kids show. I've already done like 2 or 3 episodes, and in this particular one, it's about both these two grandmas, Nancy and Dolly, going out into space and exploring the solar system. Now, I'm not a modeler. I'm actually not really an animator. I just learned how to do most of this stuff. I started learning this stuff like 2 years ago. I came from a video motions graphics background, so character animation stuff like that. Definitely not mostly in my wheelhouse. So if you can model, if you can do ZBrush or anything of that stuff, great. I would recommend that. I'm learning that stuff, so in the meantime I'm using Meshy to sort of help me along with creating these characters. So I generated some of these using these prompts here, and I did the same for the other character, Dolly. So let me show that one here. And again, these are not perfect, but they are pretty good for my use case. And hopefully they only get better. And again, once I start learning how to model properly and do all that stuff, it will only get better from here. And ideally, if I had the funds, I would just hire animators and do this. So once I have this character done, so let's take the Nancy Dolly character out of here. I can download it as an FBX file. All right. Import it into Mixamo, where you can basically just upload the character here. And it usually works pretty like straightforward. That's even from the zip file. You rig it here and then you get this result. Okay. From here, you can do any of the animations. So for this particular video or example that I'm showing you, I'm doing the walking animation, which looks like this. And since I'm doing my own animation of them like walking forward to the side or whatever, I do it in place. So because if not, then you're just gonna have that on a loop in Unreal Engine. So click in place. Once I have this, is looking pretty good. Let me see if the hands are clashing with the body. No, they're not. A little bit on this side. So let me bring out the character arm space. That's better. From certain angles, you can't even talk. I'll notice. The other thing is speed. You can lower or raise the speed here. But the thing is, I like to control that in Unreal Engine, so I kind of just leave it like that by default. Then once you're done here, you download. For the first round, what I do is for the export from Mixamo is I do it with skin. That way it will actually import the model with a texture and the mesh with the texture and everything in an Unreal Engine. So that that will kind of look like this here. So here I have my folders with Nancy and Dolly. Okay, so that character you just saw is Nancy, and I'll import it in here and it'll actually create this character here. And then what's cool is that if I want to add any more animations that I want to use later on, let's say if I don't know, if I want to do a cat walk, I don't know, I would do that for this particular episode, but let's say if I wanted that, I can download without skin, right? And then import it here, and it will retarget that animation to this mesh here. And then when you go obviously to your animations in Unreal Engine, so I have this for Nancy here. You'll see that like the walking is there. And then if I imported the other one, the catwalk, it will show up there too. And I can just toggle between those animations. Okay, so just a cool little tip there. Now, I have Dolly and Nancy already here in my session. So this is right before takeoff. I'm actually working on this episode at the moment so that they're flying onto space to discover the solar system. And has an original song and everything. So and then this is gonna be one of the first shots, okay, of them walking. I already went ahead and animated here the shot, but basically just to kind of give you, so if I were to delete that and not have the camera at all. So let's see here. You can do all sorts of animation with this kind of stuff. Obviously, using the sequencer. If I had a 3D mouse, I would just record the movements better. And I could do that with what I have right now, but I just feel it would be smoother with that. What I do is I use I can change the camera speed here. I'll put that as the starting point of my camera move, and then I'll move back here. Try to get pretty similar. Again, I spend more time doing this, but this is just kind of quick. And then I'll get this shot here. Okay. If you wanted to do each character individually, let's say you just want to animate one of these individually, you can just do one shot, an export for each. What I'm going to do is, since I'm exporting this in 4K, and to Premiere, and the timeline, the Premiere is going to be an HD timeline, so 1080p. I'm just going to crop in Premiere just to save us some time. But this gives you a good idea of how to work this. So I'm going to go ahead and export this, and I use this with the movie scene capture legacy. So if I were going to export this here, test shot 1, I like to use some compression. Maybe 75 is a better number of when I'm doing Act 1. Normally I don't use compression. I like the full quality. You can tell a difference, obviously. But for Act 1, sometimes I will do that because so the files don't get out of hand. It usually plays better with files that are not like 5-6 gigs. So I'm gonna go ahead. So engine cinematic engine scalability. The other thing is I also have the autofocus, the manual focus, sorry, turned off in my camera in Unreal Engine. If you want to do anything of like using, depth of field or manual focusing, just to get some really cool cinematic shots in there, that's works perfectly too. But I think for this example, this is what we're gonna go with. So once I'm done with that, I capture my movie, and then we'll see the result in a second. All right, so the video finally exported, and we have this shot here. Okay, looks pretty decent. I think we can work with that. And now I want them both kind of talking to each other. So we can sort of think about how we want to do this. Normally it's easier if you just have one character in frame. I mean, that's pretty simple. You just have the one character in frame. You go to Act 1, you do your animation. But in this one, I want both of them having a conversation. So we can, helps to plan this out ahead of time. And usually I have a script, so it's much easier. But for this, let's see what we can plan out here. So Nancy, where are we going today? The solar system. Something like that. Nancy, where are we going today? The solar system. Okay, so I think that could work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, since I just want animation on one of these and then the other. Currently, Act 1 does not do two characters in a frame. I'm going to go ahead and just and crop Nancy out of here like this. Okay. And let me see if I can. Yeah, see. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna take this animation out of here, export it, and then put it into Act 1, do Dolly's part, and then do Nancy's part afterwards. And let's see how that works out. Okay, now that our video exported, we're gonna go into Runway ML. I have the standard plan, so I don't think I have access to frames, but I do have access to Act 1, and that's pretty much all I need right now. So I'm gonna go to Start Session. Here in Act 1 on the left side, as you can see there. Okay, so I'm gonna upload the video now. I have it right here. And it should detect the face. Now, again, this is on a particular shot where I'm doing two characters talking to each other in the same shot. Which I've done this a few times, but again, it's much easier. An easier way to even do this is if you want to do two separate exports from Unreal Engine and just disable one of the characters for one shot, and then the next one, enable that character and disable the other one like that, and have two different exports. Put that in Act 1, and then just marry them in Unreal Engine. But this method works as well. So I'm gonna record the drawing performance right now. Okay, so I just went ahead and recorded the performance, and this is a performance. Again, this show normally is in Spanish, but I'm just doing it in English for demonstration purposes. Nancy, where are we going today? Nancy. Okay. All right, so it's pretty quick, and this is we're gonna be putting the animation to. If you have more expressive eyes, or if again, I did this pretty quick, but if you actually take the time to do more like facial expression stuff like that, all that stuff will translate. It'll make for a better performance. So let's go ahead and generate and see where that takes us. All right, so it already finished generating the video. So let's see what that looks like. Nancy, where are we going today? 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 Okay, so not bad. Nancy, again, it's kind of a far shot. So, and again, I didn't put too much emotion or expression in my face. If you do that, again, you can get a lot more emotion out of the character. But this works for our purposes. So I'm gonna go ahead and download that. Now here in Premiere, I'm gonna go ahead and do I'm gonna stick with the same crop, but I'm gonna actually do it from the left side and just have Nancy there. The same shot, the same length and everything. So, Nancy, where are we going? The solar system, Dolly. The solar system. Okay, so let's go ahead and export that out. All right, so I exported the Nancy just by herself, so I'm going to drop that here. And let's see if it detects her face. It should. It usually does really well detecting faces that are human faces. Anything that's like animals, stuff like that, doesn't always get it. I mean, rarely does it ever read it or understand it. So that's something that hopefully they improve, because a lot of the characters in the Nancy Dolly world are animals. So let's add the driving performance. All right, so I already did the driving performance. Granted, the voices, like I said, the voices, I manipulate them in Studio One so they don't sound this mannish. But this is just to give you an idea. The solar system. And then this is the actual performance. So let's go ahead and generate that and see what happens. Okay, so we have our performance for Nancy. So let's see what that looks like. The solar system. And yeah, again, I manipulate that voice. Okay, so we're back here in Premiere Pro, and we're gonna import the Dolly take, and we're gonna import the Nancy take right above that. Again, we want to use the crop effect here. Let me see. Here we're gonna go ahead. We're going to crop this just so we get that right around there. It should work. Let me see. Where are we going today? Yeah, so let's see if this actually worked. We'll bump up the audio just to make sure you can hear that. Nancy, where are we going today? The solar system. Okay, so that actually worked pretty well. It kind of cuts off here. So let's see. Nancy, where are we going today? The solar system. Okay, and it actually worked. So again, if you Nancy, it's easier when you have individual characters, but this is Nancy, where are we going today? The solar system. It's an easy way to do it. Again, if you can see in the driving performances, my eyes didn't do much of this, and like I said, anything translates to the video, so you can get even more emotion out of it based on your performance. And I highly recommend that. But you can imagine just the possibilities of this, and it's just a fun way to create interaction even in one frame. Nancy, where are we going today? The solar system. All right, guys, that's it for today, but hopefully you got something out of this. If you have any more questions, you can comment down below. Also, if you have any other tips for me that would enhance this or make it even better, because I'm sure this can be so much better, please leave it down in the comments below as well. I'm learning all this technology because it's all coming out so fast and so new. Also, if you want to check out the show that I'm working on, Nancy and Dolly, you can check out the links below. I'm going to leave links to the videos below. I'm going to make them in English soon. They're for Spanish just for now. And once I get more into the flow of making these, I'm going to make English versions of them as well. And hopefully your kids will like it just as mine do. And stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you next time.